Hi children, welcome back to our English class. Today we can discuss one beautiful poem by William Wordsworth, Lines Written in Early Spring. It is a nature poem or a landscape poem. The basic idea of the poem is largely concerned with nature because the poet William Wordsworth is a nature poet that we all know. That's why he is known as poet of nature. First we can listen to the poem.
I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in a grove I sat reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts, in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out their fan, to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man?
William Wordsworth is one of the major literary figures of all times in the history of English literature. Wordsworth collaborated with Samuel Taylor Coleridge in preface to Lyrical Ballads, marking the start of the Romantic era. During the Romantic period, poets uses wild imagination and they try to depict the life of common people in their poems. In simple ordinary language, the poet presents nature as an antidote to the corrupting influences of society. Here also in this poem, Wordsworth tried to antidote to the corrupting influences of society. Lines Written in Early Spring is in a form of a ballad and consists of 6 quatrains. This poem was included in the preface to Lyrical Ballads. In this poem, Wordsworth expresses his appreciation of the beautiful nature and his concerns regarding the path the humanity is leaning towards. The poem is set in a landscape of beauty, a small woodland grove. Wordsworth was inspired into writing this poem when he was walking near Alford. So the setting of the poem can be associated with the beautiful scenery of Alford, a town in England. We can move on to the text. I heard 1,000 blended notes while in a grove I sat reclined, in that sweet mood when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. The speaker tells that while sitting reclined on a woodland grove, his mind was filled with several thoughts. While he finds solace in the nature's beauty, the same beauty also reminds him of bad thoughts. What is the meaning of the expression 1,000 blended notes? This 1,000 blended notes refer to the musical notes which have wafted through air mixed with one another to form a melody. And we can say blended notes. Why he is telling 1,000 blended notes? It's a poetic device he used there, that is hyperbole or exaggeration. He uses the poetic device exaggeration. Hyperbole is the use of exaggeration as a figure of speech. It evokes strong feelings and creates strong impressions. When does the poet hear 1,000 blended notes? Tell me. Yes, while he was reclining in a grove. What does the expression I stayed reclined indicate about the poet's state of mind? The expression indicates that the poet is in a calm, relaxed, and a pleasant mood. Can you identify auditory image from this stanza? Can you? Yes, I heard 1,000 blended notes. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Nature is linked to humanity through the idea of a soul. In other words, a man's inner state or soul is close to nature. The speaker appreciates the nature for her godlike abilities of linking a human soul to herself. But he also feels grief or sad while thinking about how cruelly man has separated himself from the mother nature. Nature is full of pleasure, but the poet has a good reason to be sad. Why? Because he is thinking that what man has made of man. In a deeper sense, it means the human soul is left behind to experience the misery of the human world. Through primrose tufts in that green bower, the periwinkle trailed its wreaths, and 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The speaker is highly appreciative of nature's beauty. He finds delighted in the green bowers and has faith that the beautiful flowers enjoy every ounce of the air they breathe. They are thankful for living besides the nature. Every flower shows growth and happiness like the primrose that tufts and the periwinkle trailing its wreaths. Primrose is a type of flowering plant. Tuft means branches. Green bower means a shady leafy shelter with climbing plants in a garden. How does the poet associate himself with nature? The poet believes that human soul and nature are strongly associated. What is the meaning of the phrase, what man has made of man? The poet describes the unnatural aspect of human nature, the wars, the strife, and the grief which lead to human suffering and unhappiness. To her fair works did nature link. Can you find out one figure of speech from that line? Yes, personification. What is personification? The attribution of a personal nature or human characteristic to something non-human, or the representation of an abstract quality in human form, giving some human characters or human traits to a non-human thing. Here, to her fair works did nature link, her fair works. Why did the poet think that every flower enjoys its beauty? Why? Different flowers are in perfect harmony with nature. The primrose and periwinkle grow and exist in harmony. And 'tis my faith that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. Any figure of speech there? Yes, personification. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The speaker observes the birds which sing and hop around him. He is in awe of these creatures. Though the speaker does not understand their language and ways, he does recognize that the birds are creating all these movements out of sheer pleasure and joy. What did the birds do to express their pleasure? Yes, they hopped and played. Hop means jumped. What special quality of the birds and wildflowers did the speaker comment on? Special quality? Yes, pleasure, satisfaction. They are showing their enjoyment. The budding twigs spread out their fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can, that there was pleasure there. The breeze flowing is sweet and light. The tubes are spreading out as if to catch the sweet air and all. The speaker can do is gather pleasure in their existence by seeing the beauty of the nature. Budding tubes means small branches. Can you identify visual image from this stanza? Can you? Yes, budding tubes. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such be nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man? The speaker questions that if this is heaven and this is the holy plan of nature, then what has man made of man? That is himself and his kind by separating from such joy. What is nature's holy plan? How does man work against it? Nature's holy plan is that it should be untouched by the miseries of humanity. Only the human soul is left behind to experience the misery because of war and other antisocial activities. The nature's holy plan is that every being in nature should live in harmony. And much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Do you understand these settings? There is a reflection of the French Revolution here. William Wordsworth wrote primarily to take back the world from the shock of the war. He wanted everyone to enjoy the pleasures of nature. Wordsworth has a reputation as a poet of nature. Nature is a living being. It has a personality of its own. He is trying to imply that theme through this poem. This wonderful poem by Wordsworth reminds the readers of the beauty of nature, the value of enjoying and appreciating their existence, and the need to protect the nature from harm. Is it clear? Hope you all understood.